Cole.
You're kidding. Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get down.
Ooh, I love this song.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 290 of the Rotten Reviews podcast. Thank you everyone for showing up to another new episode. If you're a new listener, thank you for taking the time to pick this episode to check out the podcast. Hopefully you'll stick around a little bit. Maybe you'll check out the back catalog of other episodes because, in my personal opinion, we got a lot of good ones. We also have a lot of bad ones, but then again, I just enjoyed watching what I think is bad movies because I find them very entertaining, and hopefully you guys will as well. And for today's episode, it's a first time watch. We are watching Hard Rock Nightmare from 1988. But you already knew that if you search this movie up. But if you're a returning listener, maybe you pre-download every episodes, so they get downloaded on their own every time they come out every Saturday morning. I appreciate you very, very much, and hopefully this one's a good one. I don't know anything about it. I'll be completely honest. The image looks kind of cool for it, but I haven't watched the trailer, haven't really looked anything up, so it's a complete blind watch, and yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be a fun one. It looks like it should be a fun one, but then again, also, like, I just enjoy bad movies to begin with, so even if it's a really bad movie, I'll probably still enjoy it, I bet. But before we do get too far into the podcast episode, let's do a little bit of housekeeping like we like to do each and every single week to get the episode started.
Housekeeping?
I think you're sleeping.
Housekeeping?
Could you come back in an hour?
Housekeeping, you want towels?
More towels. Need sleepy.
Housekeeping, you want mint for pillow?
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God.
So like I say on every episode, if you want to help grow the podcast, help grow this community, feel free to hit that share button on whatever podcast platform you listen on. If you're listening on a podcast app that allows you to leave a review, please do so. If you have a few seconds of free time, if you're on Spotify listening, you can just hit that star rating. You want to give the podcast a 5-star, I appreciate it. Any star works, even the 1-star. That's okay. If you want to give me a 1-star, I hope a werewolf bites you in the ass, and that's besides the point. And I hope it's not a very friendly werewolf, and I hope he has rabies. Do I really mean that to happen? No. If it happens, lucky you, I guess. Unless it's just some hairy, homeless-looking guy who's not really a werewolf, or maybe it's just a dog that's biting you. It's a really big dog, but that's besides the point. Whatever podcast platform you're listening on, just feel free to leave a review, leave a comment if you can, hit the like button if there's a like button option. I don't know what podcast platforms are out there anymore. I just strictly listen on YouTube or Spotify myself. So, you know, there is the rating section. There's also the comment section on each episode if you want to on Spotify. But whatever podcast platform you're on, just hit that share button. If you could do so kindly, I'd appreciate it. Each little bit helps. It's another early morning, and I haven't gotten any coffee into my system yet, so I'm trying to get my words properly connected so I don't sound like an idiot like I do probably on most podcast episodes, but that's okay. It's probably a calling card to this podcast in general. But of course, if you want to keep in touch with me or anything I'm doing, make sure to follow me on all social media accounts at Typhonstein. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, Threads. The main thing, though, you can definitely check out for the most bang for your buck because it's free to do so. Check out the YouTube channel where you can subscribe to my videos because I post old episodes of the podcast every single Monday. New gaming videos every single Wednesday. I post daily shorts as well in the community section as well. And we also do the occasional live stream, so there's hours upon hours of free content over there. If you want to check out the On This Day in Horror posts that I do, you can check them out on the community tab on my YouTube channel. Or maybe you don't want to use YouTube. If you want to go check out the Rotten Reviews Podcast Instagram page, you can go check it out as well. It's all linked down the bio below in the description for each and every single episode. But like I said, on the Rotten Reviews Instagram page, you'll find the On This Day in Horror postings as well. I post about each and every single episode, and I share some other cool horror related stuff from time to time in the stories tab, depending on what I see when I go on to my Instagram feed at that point in time. You guys know how Instagram works. I don't know why I'm explaining it, so don't worry about it. Maybe you want to help support the podcast a little bit. You want to buy some merch, because we got merch. If you want, click the T Public store link down below. You can buy some podcast related merch. You can buy some stickers, t-shirts, hats, whatever it might be. We got socks as well. You can buy some pins, some buttons. We have there's some podcast related merch. You buy the logo on some tie-dye, or you can buy some other related artwork. I know I got my National Lampoon's Peanuts parody over there as well. There's still the Limp Bizkit Valentine's Day design up as well, and there's going to be a new design dropping here shortly. Can't say the exact date yet, but it will be dropping here shortly. Maybe by the time this episode comes out. Who knows? You gotta click the link down below to find out. So you should definitely go do that, right? But at the end of the day, if you just want to help me and the podcast in general, just hit the share button. Leave a comment. It's simple things. It takes you a few seconds out of your day. Just share the podcast. Or maybe share some artwork. It depends on whatever you want to share. You don't have to share every single post. If you really want to, I'd appreciate it. I'm not going to say anything, though, if you don't. If you only want to share one or two, that's cool, too. But we got a bunch of cool designs, cool drawings coming up. I've been doing a lot of Simpson-related drawings for my daughter's Lunchbox series. I did some cool Pokemon designs as well lately. And we're going to be doing some surrealism-style pieces dropping here shortly, just because I like to think out of the box a little bit and draw some wacky stuff. So definitely go check those out as well. And there's a few other projects that I'm starting to work on that hopefully will see some light here shortly as well. Just too many things to do at once, but that's okay because I like being like that. But anyways, enough about that, because you guys aren't here listening to me talk about art and all this other stuff. I know it's a bonus for you. It probably is a bonus. But you guys are here to actually listen to me talk about a movie from 1988, before I was even born. We are talking about and watching for the first time ever, Hard Rock Nightmare. It's a 4.6 out of 10 on IMDb and a 2.7 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Apparently a 4.8 out of 10 on the movie database. I've heard of that site before, but never ever checked it out before. So before I do get talking about the movie, though, I want to just let you guys know, especially if you're a new listener, I'm going to let you guys know now, and before that actual discussion of this movie starts, if you're new here, I talk about the movie from start to finish, hit all the points in between that interest me. So that means it's going to be a spoiler-heavy episode. But don't worry. If you don't want to be spoiled, feel free to pause this episode. You can go watch this movie for free on Tubi. You can also find a good copy of it as well for free on YouTube. So there's a couple free options for you to go watch the movie ahead of time if you really want to, so you don't get spoiled. Or you can just sit back, relax, listen to me talk about the movie, and I'll either make you really want to go see the movie, or you'll be okay with just skipping it. I leave that judgment call up to you at the end of this episode, because, well, that's up to you. But like I said, if you do want to see the movie, guess what? You have 2 free options to go watch this movie. So I'm just putting that out there for you guys. So hopefully you will stick around for the rest of this episode and listen to me talk about the Hard Rock Nightmare. Description as read on Tubi. A child is convinced his grandfather is a monster and kills him. Years later, he returns with his friends to the site of the killing. It appears to be his grandfather's revenge, as one by one, his friends are brutally murdered. Concept for the movie sounds really interesting. Just putting that out there. That's the reason why I picked this movie. Well, one, because I've never seen it before, but when I read the description on TV, I'm like, you know what? That sounds like a damn fun movie. And because we watched Sometimes They Come Back Again recently, it kind of seems like the same, concept of, people coming back from the dead and wreaking havoc. But now let's start that part of the podcast where we talk about the director, any of the writers, and a few of the stars of the movie. This one's going to be a little bit easier because the director and the writer are the same person, and there's only one writer for this movie. And this gentleman's name is Dominic Barcia. I probably butchered the last name, but if you are a returning listener, you know I'm not good with names, especially when they're not from around here, and I'm an idiot and I don't know how to pronounce it properly. But that's probably a reason why you come to the episode each and every single week, so I can butcher some names. He was Joey in 1985's Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Being. He was the evil laugher in 1986 Evil Laugh. Okay, well now I gotta watch that movie because that just sounds silly. In 1985, he plays a young man buying ice cream in the vampire comedy starring Jim Carrey called Once Bitten as well. He was Louis in 2001's My Life as a Troll. I don't know that one either, but I'm going to go through this guy's catalog because I feel like some of these movies are going to be pretty fun. And I don't remember Joey from Friday the 13th, Part 5. But I might have to revisit. I've been actually wanting to revisit all the Friday the 13th movies. So maybe we'll do that here soon. Let me know down in the comments, though, if you want me to do it for the podcast or you just want me to do it for my free time. Well, it could be either one. Probably for the podcast would be a little bit more enjoyable. But like I said, that's a lot of movies to go through all at once for the podcast. But that's also content for you guys. So if you want me to go through all the movies, I'm okay with it. It's a low budget movie, so we're going to talk about the two top billed actors. And the first one we're going to talk about is Martin Hanson playing the character of Jim. What else have they played in? Not a damn thing, to be honest with you guys. So that's a quick and easy one. The next character we're going to talk about is Charlie, played by Greg Juan Roche. Probably most likely butchered that one for sure. But he was part of the additional crew in 2002's Spider-Man. Part of the additional crew in 2004's Troy. Same thing. Part of the additional crew in 1996 Striptease, as well as part of the additional crew in 1997's G.I. Jane. So he went from being an actor in like one movie and then just being, someone who works on the sets. So at least he's still in the business. And sadly, this movie doesn't have a tagline. It makes me disappointed. Usually the movies that don't have taglines aren't really good. I'm a little bit sad and disappointed now. I think I'm going to go make a coffee to try and cheer myself up at this point in time. Well, that sucks. I was hoping for a tagline for something silly and wacky, but oh well, I guess. There's like next to nothing on this movie to the point where there's like no goofs, there's like no trivia, nothing at all on IMDb. So I'm a little bit terrified now for this episode, but I'm hoping it's going to be a fun one. So while scrolling, I didn't find a tagline, but I also found this film is also known as section, which I didn't see on IMDb before. But it's also known as Wolves, Sex, and Rock. So that's fun, right? I like wolves. I like sex. I like rocks. Rocks are cool. I like big rocks, small rocks. Oh, they meant rock and roll. Oh, I like rock and roll too. That's cool too. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all we can talk about for this movie. There's nothing really else that's catching my eye. So like I said earlier, if you're a new listener, thank you for showing up for this episode. But like I said, I'm going to be talking about this movie from start to finish to hit all the points in between that interest me. So that means it's going to be spoiler heavy, just like every episode of the podcast. But I'm sure most of you guys are okay with that. I know there's just the occasional person that pops in every now and then that kind of has a little bit of like, why'd you say everything that happens in the movie? Because that's what my podcast is about, and that's what I do. So thank you for listening to the episode. But hopefully this one's going to be a good one. I have hope. I have hope from faith. I mean, I like a lot of bad movies, so what's the worst that's going to happen? I might fall asleep, but it's okay. I got coffee now. So with that being said, let's get started on the episode at hand. As always, I know a lot of you guys are listening at home. Maybe you're listening while you're cleaning or getting ready to go to sleep. Good on you. Whatever works for you, I appreciate it. Maybe you're listening at work. Hopefully this helps the hours go by. Hopefully it makes the day go by a little bit faster. Maybe get a couple smirks in, a little bit of laughs. And as always, I know a lot of you find people like to listen in the car when you're going to work, going to get groceries, just driving around, relaxing, whatever it might be. Just make sure to keep your eyes on the road wherever you're going, to be nice and safe and aware of everything around you. I know winter's slowly finally starting to leave here. It's trying to make a comeback sometimes, but it seems like it's leaving. So the roads should be getting better. But hopefully that won't be an issue anyways. But if you're going somewhere, keep an eye on everyone. Some people don't like to look left or right when they're crossing the street because they feel like they have the right of way all the times. Some people are just idiots. So you gotta always be aware of your surroundings. And I'm rambling now. So we're going to get started on the episode at hand. Hopefully this coffee works really quickly.
Presents Saturday Night at the Movies, the television series which each week brings you the finest in recent motion pictures. Tonight...
Okay. For the the next 6 or 7 hours, we should all stay inside.
Why?
Because Tim's death wasn't an accident. A wolf did it. A werewolf.
Paul's dead. Everybody's dead. I thought it was it. It's a big wolf. Oh my God, he's dead.
Who's dead?
I don't know, his head's missing.
Looking in the shadows, dimness of night, plotting evil strategies, making wrong out of right. Deceiving hearts of many with the sound of lions roar, and trusting in not any, and waging a war. It's not in secret, you're gonna reap it. The seed's been planted, and in time it's gonna tell on you. It's gonna tell on you. The seed's been planted. It's gonna tell on you. Oh.
I'll come in your house and kill you and the whole family. I'm a vampire.
Alright, so we got the movie just starting out, which is a black screen. We have an eerie voice in the background calling out the master, calling out Lucifer. And then we just see this older gentleman pop up on the screen who's just staring a hole for our heart and our soul, because he's just staring at us, talking. That's the voice that was talking at the beginning. And he's, talking down to a little boy. And there's a ceiling fan that's going super freaking fast behind his head. And it's all black and white right now at the moment. And then the old man is like, you know what, on the full moon, what happens? I become a werewolf. Do you know what werewolf is? Do you know what vampire is? And the kid's just looking scared. And then the old man's wife's like, you got to calm down. You're scaring the kid. He's like, nah, kids love to be scared. And then the old guy's saying this story to the kid. I'm assuming this is the main character, and that's the asshole grandpa that's going to die, because the grandpa's like, at night I'll come back as a vampire and I'll kill you. And the mom or the wife is like, and you're an asshole at night too because you're drunk. And Grandpa here gets a great laugh. I was trying to scare the kid. He's like, hey, Mildred, honey, I'm going to go take a nap. Wake me up when it's lunchtime. And then he's calling his grandson a pussy for being scared, because the grandfather just scared the shit out of him. Most kids probably wouldn't like their grandparent being like, I'm going to come kill you at night because I'm a vampire. And then Grandpa goes to lay down in the hammock, and next thing you know, we see a wooden spike and a hammer going through his heart. And Grandma's like, he was only kidding. He was just playing a joke with you. And then Jimmy wakes up because he was just having an old nightmare. Apparently old Jimmy was taking a nap, and they're rock and roll people. They gotta get up and get ready to rehearse because some Sammy guy's girlfriend is coming around. They gotta make sure they're looking good, because being a rock star is really hard work. And then we finally see the intro credits start to pop in, and it just says Hard Rock Nightmare, just like a Times New Roman font, nothing crazy. I'm assuming they didn't really have much budget for anything. We see their hard rock, heavy metal rock band playing in the garage, and the garage door slowly starts to open up as, more girls start to come around and be like, oh my god, they're so cool. It's funny, like, when you're in a movie and you're just playing, you're doing your character. The drummer here, he's actually watching the camera as the camera's panning around the garage to, shoot the scene. And he probably should just be focusing on, playing the drums and not actually watching the actual cameraman walk around the whole garage. Apparently the band is rocking out too hard in midday, because it looks like it's early, not super early, but it looks like it's midday. Officers show up being like, hey guys, you gotta keep the noise. We get too many complaints about the noise. He's like, this is your last warning, guys, you gotta keep the noise down. One of the guys is like, hey officer, we're a band, we have to rehearse. And the other one's like, not in this neighborhood, you're not rehearsing here anymore. And they're like, oh my god guys, we gotta find another place to rehearse now. And then the bandmates are all talking about where they're going to find a new spot to rehearse. And as the cops are driving away, one of the guys is like, hey dudes, we could rehearse in my van. Shut up, idiot. So then we have Jim talking to his uncle, and Uncle Gary's like, are you sure you know what you're doing, Jim? He's like, yeah, we just need to go away for the weekend where nobody's going to bug us, where we can make a bunch of music, make a lot of, noise, jam out. And besides, Grandma would love it, if she was still alive and stuff. So they're apparently going back to the grandparents' home where, he killed his grandfather. And the keyboardist, Paul, he's a little bit worried because he's like, hey, dude, I thought we're just going as the band and just, relaxing as the band. And Jim's like, well, yeah, of course the band's going, but we also got to have some, some ladies to hang out with too. You can't just be all guys. So Uncle Gary is talking to Jim. He's like, hey, Jim, I want to know, like, have you been having any nightmares lately? How you been doing? And Jim's like, no, I've been doing good. I haven't had any nightmares other than the nightmare that, started the movie out. And then Uncle Gary tells his bodyguard, Dirk or whatever, to go wait for him in the limo while he's talking to his nephew. And Dirk's like, limo? And Uncle Gary's like, the big, long vehicle that we came in, you dumbass. We're going to find out the way that they're getting to Grandma's house is they're actually using Uncle Gary's motorhome. Uncle Gary seems like he's a rich fella, and he's got a big fancy motorhome that all the guys and gals can fit in to get to where they're going. Kind of looks like the Breaking Bad motorhome, just a size bigger, but that's just my personal opinion on it. But yeah, the whole time when they're discussing about, if Jim feels unwell when he's at Grandma and Grandpa's old house, let him know, and the music's getting all eerie and stuff, and then someone else comes up being like, Jim, we gotta go if we're going to be on time. It's like, you don't really have any plans. You got the whole goddamn weekend. It's gonna maybe take you a couple hours to get there. I don't know. They haven't even said how far away it is. But then we just see them all loaded up in the motorhome, which there's 2 motorhomes going down the road at the same time. So I'm not sure. I'm assuming they're only in the first one, but maybe it's just how they shot this scene. But anyways, then they're just going down the highway. Heavy metal music just rocking away. So they're in the van. Or the motorhome, and Paul's like, we need to come up with a gimmick. I'm the only one in this band that has any kind of creative imagination. And then one guy's like, are you forgetting I came up with the band's name, the Bad Boys? And the keyboardist guy, Paul, he's like, yeah, sounds like a gay porno. And then 3 of them, Jim, Paul, and whoever this other guy, are discussing who the new girl is. And apparently somebody's girlfriend invited her on because she's supposed to help cook. And they're like, she knows how to cook? I doubt it. Apparently, grandparents' house is far away because they're still driving, and now it's nighttime when they left early in the morning by the looks of it. And Drummer Boy goes to sit down with the new girl on the couch. She's like, tell me about the drums. He's like, what do you want to know about it? She's like, how big's your drumstick? He's like, wow then. And then we cut to Paul, the keyboard guy, sitting beside that same girl now, and Drummer Boy's gone. And now she's all over him. He's like, has anyone ever told you how nice your eyes are? Can you get your hands off me, please? So apparently this new groupie is trying to get with all the bandmates, but the lead singer, Jim, he's too cool. He's like, I'm not going to give her any attention. I'm going to make her beg for it. As he's talking to Paul, and Paul's like, oh man, you're so damn cool. At last, we finally find out the groupie's name. Her name is Tina, because her friend who actually invited her on the trip sits down on the couch beside her instead of making out with each other, which I expected was going to happen, because at the rate this movie's going, she's like, you said you're going to contain yourself and not be a whore the whole time on this trip. That's why I invite you on the trip. And Tina's like, I just can't help it. They're all just so cute. And then we see everyone starting to fall asleep in the RV as I don't know who's driving it, but one of them's driving it. Anyways, Jim is sleeping at the back of the RV with a couple of the bandmates, and then he wakes up in a nightmare, being like, where is everybody? So then he starts walking to the front of the RV, and the RV starts filling up with smoke, and he just sees his grandfather laughing at him. And then the bandmates start to show up, and they have like vampire fangs, and they're turning into like monsters, and they start getting closer and closer to him. And then he wakes up from a nightmare being like, you guys are all dead, you're all dead. He's like, oh, it was just a nightmare, my bad, sorry guys. So then we see Jim asleep again. I'm assuming it's his girlfriend, maybe Tina. I'm not really sure what her name is. Anyways, she comes out to talk to everyone else who's apparently awake, and she looks very happy. She's like, hey guys, I gotta tell you guys some stuff about this house that we're going to, Jim's grandparents' house. Some really bad things happened at this house, and really bad stuff. Like, I can't stop smiling how bad the stuff was. But let's just be really happy. Let's keep everything really motivated. Let's have a good couple of days, and let's never tell Jim that I told you anything about this stuff. All right, guys? And the drummer's like, what stuff? He's like, you're probably stupid enough that you already forgot, but that's fine. It's now the next day. It's early in the morning. And the driver's like, good morning, guys. Did everyone have a good sleep? I haven't, because I've been driving the whole goddamn time. One lady's like, I got the bathroom first. Anybody bring any toothpaste, toilet paper, anything by chance? It's like, you guys were awake just like 3 hours ago when it was pitch dark outside. Why didn't you use the bathroom then? Why you gotta use it in the morning? Maybe somebody else wants to use the bathroom. Because you ladies are probably going to be hours in the bathroom. And there's only one bathroom in the motorhome. And we don't want you stinking it up. Then we see them parking the motorhome, and they can't get right to the house. They gotta go for a walk. So Jim's like, hey, everybody, we gotta grab some stuff. And one of the ladies gets off the motorhome being like, does this place even have a TV that I can watch my TV shows? Probably not. It's probably been abandoned for years. So then we just see them walking through the woods, walking through trees and bushes and everything, and everyone's like, well, how far is this house from the road? Well, how much farther do we have to go? Are we there yet? So in the lineup, the drummer was the last one going through the bushes. He's like, hey guys, where's Paul? Did anybody wake Paul up from the RV? And of course, nobody woke up keyboard Paul, because then we cut back to the RV, and Paul's coming out being like, guys, where are you? Guys, I'm a little scared. Guys, help, please. Guys, where'd you go? So we see the group still walking through the woods. They're walking for minutes upon hours, whatever it might be. And then we just cut back to Paul, who's walking through the woods like an idiot with some like comedy music playing, being like, do, 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 do. And he's like, hey guys, where are you guys? Guys, this isn't funny. Where'd you guys go? And then we see Uncle Gary Armstrong calling the ranger that lives down by the old grandma's house. He's like, yes, hi, it's Gary Armstrong. Yes, from the Armstrong house. Yes, it's me. My nephews and his friends are going to be hanging out at the house. Yes, the house where that horrible accident. I know nothing's probably going to happen to them out there in the woods, but could you just keep an eye on them over the weekend just so I know nothing really bad happens? They're going to be coming back Monday. So if you could just make sure nothing happens. I know probably nothing's going to happen. They're out in the woods, just kids being kids, right? All right, so they were walking to the point where they finally made it to the house, but now it's nighttime, even though they were just in the morning time. So how long did you walk in the woods? But then Paul shows up being like, oh man, it took me forever to catch up to you guys. All right, it's that kind of movie. I get it. So it's nighttime. Apparently the house has power already on because the lights are all lit up, even though nobody's been there for God knows how long. It's fine. Anyways, and there, Uncle Gary said they're just there for the weekend. But Jim's like, hey, we're here for the next 4 days. So what day did you guys actually leave on? Because you've already lost 2 days because you're driving for 1 day and you walked in the woods for another day. So we then see the music technician guy walking with the new groupie lady. She's like, can you tell me something? How well do you know Charlie? Charlie's almost like a clone of Jim. A little bit taller, though. But Jim is just the singer, where Charlie's the guitarist. At first, when I'm watching the movie earlier, I thought maybe it was just a different camera angle, the same person, because they do look very, very similar. Same haircut and everything. Just there is a height difference. We see Charlie alone in the grandparents' house somewhere. And then Tina, I think it is, the groupie. She's like, yeah, Sally invited me up, and, I've seen every concert that the band's done. And he's like, what do you want from me? He's like, nothing really. I just wanted to get to know you and be your friend and maybe do other things, but that's besides the point. And then Tina's like, by chance, did you ever meet Jim's grandfather? I know some stuff happened here. And he's like, you need to shut up. You're a crazy groupie. She's like, yeah, I know I am. Oh, wait, I am, yeah. So then we see Jim and Sally in bed, and Sally's like, when you guys get all famous and stuff, and she's asking all these questions to Jim. Jim keeps saying, yes, my dear, yes, my dear. And one of the questions is like, will you ever leave me when you get rich and famous? He's like, yes, my dear. She's like, what? He's like, I'm just playing with you. I'm just joking. Relax. Don't kill me in this bed, please. I'm assuming it's Uncle Gary that keeps his home running and keeps power and everything to it, because the phone rings and Jim and Sally are in bed together. Then the phone rings and then Jim gets on the phone. He's like, Grandpa, full moon. Grandpa, don't kill me, please. And then he gets ready to hang up the phone. And Sally's like, what's going on, Jim? And he's like, that was my grandpa on the phone. And she's like, your grandfather's dead. He's like, well, I don't know what to tell you, but he was just on the phone. And then Sally's trying to calm him down, being like, it's probably just a sick joke. Probably just some being an asshole. He's like, yeah, it's fine. I'm just going to go take a quick walk, even though my grandfather was just on the phone saying he's going to kill me tonight on this full moon. I'm sure it's okay outside, though. I won't have any crazy panic attack or do anything stupid. And then we see sitting by a fire, we see groupie lady and the music technician guy being like, oh man, I'm so horny. And she's like, when are you going to tell me more about Jim and Charlie? He's like, yeah, I'll tell you later. Don't worry about it. So anyways, he's trying to get in pants with her. She doesn't really want to do it. And then he's trying to get her to kiss it, and she won't. He's like, oh, all right, fine. How about this? How about you put your hand down there? Anyways, the reason why I'm bringing up this point is we hear him unzipping his pants, and it's the loudest zipper I've ever heard in my goddamn life. And then next thing you know, we see these yellow eyes from behind them in the woods, and it's this like werewolf-looking creature staring at them. And apparently the music technician guy called her the wrong name, so she gets pissed off and walks away. He's like, come on, you gotta at least finish the job before you walk away, Tina. You can't be doing this. And then next thing you know, we see the werewolf creature pop in the screen. Same headshot again. And next thing you know, the music technician guy's got no head because it just gets one tap right off his shoulder. Then Tina's walking through the woods. She bumps into Jim, and they both scare each other. And she's like, I just thought I heard Jim, the music technician guy, scream. He's like, yeah, I thought so too. Let's go find him. So they go to where Tina was with him last, and we come to find out he's got no head. So Tina's all scared now. She's hugging Jim, and Jim's just like, oh, Grandpa, what did you do now? So then Jim starts hitting this like wind chime thing, and everyone comes out running and be like, oh, there must be something bad happening. Let's go see. And they go to where the body is, and one of the girls is like, who is it? And then the other guy's like, I think it might have been the keyboard guy. He's like, I don't know. He's got no head. Idiots, look around. Who's missing, dumbasses? Tim is decapitated, and his body is also impaled on something. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if it's some farm equipment, but it's like a circle thing with a bunch of spikes shooting through it. It doesn't look like a tiller. Might be a tiller. Might just be a weird prop that they create, being like, hey, this looks cool. And then Jim's like, this was a murder. This wasn't an accident. This was my grandfather, and my grandfather's coming back because he's a very evil man. And everyone's trying to calm him down, being like, buddy, you're being a little drastic here. I'm sure it's not your grandfather. He's like, yeah, it's a full moon. Every full moon, he comes back to cause some havoc. Anyways, then we see Connie, the ditzy girl, who's like, whose head was it? Or whose body was it? Because it's headless. And then Tim, I think is the music technician guy's name. Anyways, Paul comes over being like, any luck? Any luck yet with it? And he's like, maybe if I get her drunk enough, I might be able to. He's like, no, with the phone, you idiot. He's like, no, the phone's broken. Definitely broken. We ain't calling nobody. Even though the phone rang like an hour ago. But it's fine. It's broken now. So then we see Jim and everyone inside the house, and Charlie's like, all right, guys, let's listen to what Jim has to say. Jim wants to discuss the situation with us, but let's be honest here, Jim. After you're done, you and Sally can go back to bed because we're all tired and we just want to go to sleep. So Jim's like, all right, for the next 6 hours or so, guys, we should stay inside. I know there's an evil going on outside. In the woods, I saw a werewolf or a wolf creature, but he was standing on 2 feet, and that's what actually killed dumbass over there that's beheaded. And then after Jim's done talking about this story, everyone's kind of like making fun of him. He's like, why don't you guys just believe me? It's true. It's my grandfather. He's a werewolf. He came back from the dead because I killed him when I was a kid because I thought he was a vampire, but really he was a werewolf the whole time. Then we see the ditzy girl, Connie, and her boyfriend, I think it's Tim, sitting on the couch. And Connie's like, nobody believes in werewolves and vampires anymore. That's just silly. And Tim's like, yeah, if you would have said it was a maniac in a hockey mask walking around, I probably would have believed him then. And then as Jim leaves, Sally and Charlie start discussing what's going on with Jim and how Jim's been seeing a psych doctor for the last 12 years because of the accident that happened when he was a kid. And everyone's like, oh, okay, we'll stay positive. But are we still going to stay here when Buddy got killed outside? Or should we look for somewhere new to go? Even though it took us a whole day to walk in the woods here and it's midnight. Oh, and now there's a wolf howling outside. I guess we'll just stay inside, though. So, of course, like a typical horror movie, they're like, hey, there's a CB radio in the motorhome. So then Tina's like, I'll go for it. Buddy was killed outside, and the only other person outside was Jim, and I honestly don't want to stay in this house with Jim if he actually killed his grandfather, because I think I have a better chance of surviving outside. And everyone's like, oh, you're such an asshole. You're going to stay in the house, though. And then everyone's deciding what they're going to do because apparently the ranger station's not too far away. So, 2 people are going to go to the RV to use the CB radio. 2 people are going to go to, the ranger station to try and get help. And, of course, everyone's going to die because it's a horror movie. Charlie's giving Paul a pep talk before he leaves. Like, hey, keep an eye out there. I know it's dark in the woods and stuff. We need you. The band needs you. You're a good guy. Don't fall in any holes or anything. Seriously, don't fall in any holes. You could really get hurt. Then we see Connie and her boyfriend, the music technician guy, walking through the woods. She's like, do you know where you're going? She's like, I wish you would stop complaining. It's dark. We're in the woods. I really don't know where we're going, but we're going to figure it out. Hopefully. Maybe. I don't know. We might die. And then we see them being stalked in the woods by the werewolf, the grandfather. We see the same shot again of the face and the eyes. We just see like from the muzzle up and the yellow eyes. I like werewolf and nice piercing yellow eyes. Aesthetically, it looks cool. Yellow eyes, green eyes, red eyes. Something that's out of the norm is definitely cool. And then we actually see like his claw and his hand on a tree trunk. So he does have a little bit of makeup design to him. Not sure how much it's going to be because we haven't seen more of him yet other than just like his eyes, like the muzzle up and this one hand. So then Connie and the music technician guy decide to take a break because they want to sit down for a couple minutes. So then Connie's like, all right, I'm just going to get naked while you smoke your joint. It's like, all right, Connie, we see what kind of game you're trying to play here. And then Connie's like, we're going to boink by the moonlight. Boinking by moonlight is an actual line in this goddamn movie. And the music technician guy, who looks like he's like 6'5", he's like, oh man, it's so much better doing it out here in the woods than doing it in my van. And then we see Tina sitting down with Charlie. Charlie's playing like Tuna's guitar. And she's like, oh, you must think I'm a real bitch. And he's like, no, I get it. You're just, a little bit upset about Tim dying out there and, being close to him. She's like, I don't care about Tim. Tim's dead. Why would I care about Tim? He's like, wow, maybe you are actually a bitch. Then we hear a door slam, and out of nowhere, Sally appears being like, Charlie, Jim's not in his bedroom anymore. Jim's not in bed. I don't know where Jim went. Do you know where Jim went? Jim's gone. Then we see Connie and music technician boy completely stoned, laughing their ass off up against a rock, being like, we shouldn't have smoked so much. And Connie's like, it's okay, we're not driving. And then he's like, hey, look over there, look at that big dog. And then we see the werewolf grandpa show up with his claw up in there, and like, oh, look at the poor puppy, he's probably hungry. Let's go find him a candy. We had a candy bar in our bag. Why don't we give him the candy bar? Like, you stoners are going to die by a werewolf and not even realize it because you think it's an oversized German Shepherd. Connie has a chocolate bar in hand and walks over to the werewolf grandpa, who literally just grabs her by the throat, picks her up in there, and she's screaming. And then blood starts going all over the place. And music technician guy's like, oh man, this is gnarly. What's all this stuff that's falling on me? And it's like, oh shit, I'm going to die next. So we do see the full suit werewolf. Nothing fancy. It's like the mask is definitely a sculpted mask, and then we have the claws. But other than that, it's just like a fursuit, no muscle texture. It looks like a very lengthy person. Looks like the werewolf has been a little lengthy and skipping arm days and everything else. Kind of just looks like he's got a bunch of fancy bath mats wrapped all around him as a werewolf suit. And then we see Charlie going to talk to Tina, who's apparently a writer, and she apparently writes for rock magazine that her cousin publishes, and she thinks the only thing good about the band is Charlie and everyone else is average or below. He's like, this is my band, this is all my buddies, this is all my friends. And then we just see Sally sitting in bed listening to the radio, and then out of nowhere Jim comes in. She's like, where you been, Jim? He's like, Sally, there's something weird going on, and I know there's something weird, you gotta believe me. And the whole time that Jim's trying to explain things to Sally, we see Charlie and Tina getting it on. Charlie's holding out for Tina because he wanted her to beg for it. And then Charlie's like, wow, that was great. And Tina's like, that was great. What are you talking about? You're finished? We're done already? That was so quick. What are you talking about? Why are you done so fast? That's it. I wanted more. Tina's a whore. She's like, by far, this was the worst sex I ever had in my life. You are by far the worst sexual partner I've ever had in my life. You are awful. She's like, I've been dreaming about this night for months with you. And I'm just saying right now, this is the biggest disappointment of my life. And then she starts laughing at him in bed, and he gets out of bed being like, you know what, you can stop laughing at me. I don't really appreciate you laughing at me after we just had amazing sex. She's like, I can't complain about it because I didn't feel anything and nothing actually happened. And then they start insulting each other, and then Charlie gets dressed, being like, you probably have no feeling between your legs anyways. You're probably a lesbian anyways, and just storms away. I'm going to assume Jim's having another nightmare because he opens the door and we see drummer boy at the door behind him. And the other band members are there as well. And they're all wearing female lingerie. And Jim's like, hey, what are you guys doing wearing girl stuff? And he's like, wow, we're not the bad boys anymore. We're something else. It's pretty cool, huh? And then Jim's looking at the girls and be like, what are you guys wearing? And the girls are like, if the guys can wear our stuff, we're going to wear your stuff. And Sally comes over and be like, Jim, don't be so square. We can wear whatever we want. And then Jim just looks down and sees a picture of his grandmother and grandfather together. And they all go to the kitchen together. And for some reason, Jim's wearing army pants. I'm not sure what the reason that is for, but they all just go in the kitchen and stand around the table as there's breakfast being served. The next thing you know, we see them putting this plate down on the table. It has a lid on top of it, and they pull off the lid, and of course inside is Tim's head, and he's like, "Hey Jim, how's it going, bud?" And then Jim looks up from his nightmare, because why not? We see Paul and the drummer guy showing up to the ranger station, and I think Paul is going down to the lake area to see if there's more cabins or something. I'm not really sure what he's doing. Anyways, drummer boy goes into the ranger station, and it looks like it's been trashed. He tries to use the phone. Of course, the phone doesn't work at all, shockingly enough. Then he uses his radio to radio back to Charlie, being like, Kirk to Enterprise, can you beat me up there? Because there's nothing here at all that works. And then, of course, we hear the werewolf slowly making its way closer and closer to the ranger cabin. Drummer boy's name is John, because Charlie's like, where's Paul? And he's like, he went down to the lake. And then we hear some sounds outside, and John's like, hey, who is that? Who's outside the door there? And all we hear is some, like, growling. And he's like, hello? What's going on out there? He's like, oh, man, something's in there. And Charlie's like, get out of there now. Get back to the house. He's like, nah, I must be just really tired. You wouldn't imagine what I just saw. And then next thing we know, we hear him yelling on the other side of the radio because he's being ripped apart by a werewolf. Also, I want to say that this ranger station is just a little shed. Literally looks like a little gardening shed. Doesn't look like much else. But then Paul comes up and he's singing like the Hard Rock Nightmare song. And he opens up the ranger station door. Of course, it's just pure darkness inside. And he opens up the door and hears the werewolf inside. He's like, shit. So then we see him looking at the werewolf. We see the werewolf looking back at him. And next thing we know, we see Paul running through the woods for his life, trying not to get caught by this werewolf and getting ripped apart. And he's actually doing a good job, because it's just literally shots of him running through the woods, hunching up against trees and trying to hide. We don't see the werewolf at all. We just see him running like a cartoon character. So then he stops running and he's like, all right, I think I'm in the clear. So he walks away from this tree a little bit that he was hiding up against. And he's like, something doesn't sound right. So he looks up in the tree, and of course the werewolf's been up in the tree the whole time waiting for him. I'm assuming the werewolf at this point in time has been staying in that tree the whole time and just watching Paul run around the woods in the darkness. Probably running around in circles. But now Paul's dead because he's getting ripped apart. And then we see Jim. He's coming out of a closet with a gun. He's like, my grandfather used to love old rifles. And then he literally shoots at the wall, being like, and the girl's like, what are you doing, Jim? He's like, well, gotta see if it works. Now, guys, find some silver, because we gotta find some silver so we can make a bullet and kill the werewolf. So then Tina's like, Sally, can you get the gun from your boyfriend before he kills us? He's already killed his grandfather. He probably killed us too. He's like, you talking about me? Are you talking about me? I had to kill my grandfather because he was a vampire, and now he's a werewolf. Don't be a bitch to me. We see Charlie walking through the woods because he's like, I'm done letting my friends being murdered. And he actually finds Paul up against a tree. Paul's not dead yet. He's probably going to be dead soon. He's bleeding from his eye and his mouth, and he's got a slash across his forehead. He's got a big chunk out of his shoulder. He's like, what happened to you? He's like, a werewolf did this? He's like, something, man, like creature, monster, it hurts a lot. And then right there at that moment, as soon as Charlie is trying to comfort Paul, Paul does right in front of him. And, he has this bro moment being like, why? Why'd you take my bro from me? So we see Charlie running through the woods, and I'm not sure where he's running to. I'm not sure if he's running back to the house or if he's just running for safety somewhere. Anyways, he trips and falls down the hill a little bit. And then he looks up at the sky a little bit. And, of course, we see the werewolf is standing right there. He's like, son of a... And then he's trying to hit the werewolf with the baseball bat. And we just see him, like, swinging out midair, like, hitting nothing at all. Then he finally does go to hit the werewolf. And the werewolf just grabs the bat and just throws him to the ground. He still has the bat in hand, though. He's like, oh, well, this is going to be a very bad predicament. And then we come back to the house where we see Jim and Sally somehow are making a silver bullet, because Jim knows how to melt down silver and has a bullet casting, and he's able to make a bullet for the exact gun that they're using. Tina left to go to her own safety, and she's like, no man or werewolf is going to kill me. And we find out Tina is hiding in the well of all things. So then we see Jim and Sally are going outside, and they're walking for a bit, and I guess Sally's tired, so she's like, I really need a drink of water. So then Jim sends the bucket down in the well, and he smashes Tina in the head. And he's like, hey, who's down there? He's like, me, I'm hiding down here. Can you guys leave me alone, please? Jim and Sally leave, and then next thing you know, we see a hand coming in the screen at the well, and it's got a giant container, and a bunch of gas is being poured down the well. And next thing we know, the well is going up in smoke. But it wasn't a werewolf. We can definitely see a human hand and a sweater. So I'm not really sure who's doing it. But then out of nowhere, Charlie comes running through the woods, crashes in front of Jim, and Sally being like, it's a wolf. I don't know what's going on. It's a wolf. And we see some fur. And then Jim's like, looking at this fur and be like, this just looks like a costume. It's a man. It's just a human, maybe. So then Charlie's like, it's a wolf. I actually fought with the damn thing and it's killed everyone else. And Jim's like, no, it's not a wolf. It's a man who wants us to think he's a wolf. I almost lost my mind, but I'm not doing it yet. And then this piece of fabric, this wolf fur that Jim was looking at, Sally just decides to grab it and turns around and looks at it, and it's got a label on it saying made in Hong Kong. It's like, oh, I guess you are right. Then they apparently come up with this plan to try and lure the guy out, and they're using Sally as bait, being like, hey Ranger, hello, anybody around? Charlie fell in the ditch and I think he's hurt. Can somebody come help me if there's anybody around at all? Hello? And like Charlie's hiding behind a rock and doesn't hear the growling coming behind him at all. So then he jumps out of the hiding spot he was at, and now he's with Sally, being like, get back, you silly wolf creature, get back, as he's like swinging a piece of wood at him. I don't know where Jimmy's like, hey, werewolf, hey, look at me over here, hey, buddy, over here. And then Jim shoots at the werewolf like 3 times. We see the werewolf fall into the ground, be like, oh, shit, I got shot. And then they're looking at the werewolf, and they're pulling at the face, and the face is rubber. And then they're looking at the hands, and the hands has like this metal saw blades on it, because it's all just a prop. And apparently it's Dirk, the bodyguard guy from Uncle Gary's facility or whatever. And then Uncle Gary just shows up with a gun. Be like, who are you guys calling the madman? How about you guys all get up? And Jim's like, Uncle Gary, what's going on here, bud? And apparently Uncle Gary's doing this all for the money, because it's not the farm he's worried so much about. It's apparently this farm has a bunch of oil underneath the ground, and he wants it all because he wants all the money. And Uncle Gary's whole plan was to rip up the band members and leave only Jim alive, so when the police show up, Jim's like, a werewolf did. And then the police do a little bit more investigating, and then they find out that Jim himself killed his grandfather as a kid, and then he would get put into a mental asylum, and he would be able to take over the farm and the land and the oil and everything else. And that was his whole game plan. He's like, well, now that all you guys know the plan, and sorry, this is you too, Jim, you guys are all gonna have to die, and it'd be a real shame if, I don't know, somebody was smoking a cigarette inside the house and the whole house went up in flames. It'd be a real shame, right, guys? And then Charlie's like, please don't hurt me. He's like crouched down in front of Uncle Gary. He's like, please don't hurt me, man. You kill them. Don't kill me. He's like, sorry, kid. I'll kill you last. That's a promise, all right? So then Charlie starts fake crying and literally just sacks Uncle Gary in the nuts. And all he hears is like cartoony, you like, woo. And then out of nowhere, Jim picks up the gun and shoots his uncle. And then as Uncle Gary's laying on the ground dying, he's like, Jim, I'm dying. He's like, we'll get you an ambulance. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. And then as Uncle Gary looks like he's dying more, he reaches up and grabs Jim, being like, I'm going to come back for you. I'm going to come back. And then he dies. And then Sally's like, wow, he was a real sick son of a bitch, wasn't he? He's like, yeah, it's okay, though. He won't come back. I don't believe in werewolves, vampires, or ghosts. And then they hear a wolf howling off in the distance. And they're like, all right, let's go. And then we see the outro credits start to hit the screen. And that's the end of the movie. And I got to say, it wasn't as good as I was hoping it was going to be. I'm glad that they went with the route that they went with, I guess you could say. The whole, plot twist, you could say. Because the werewolf itself didn't look good. It was neat. I like the yellow eyes and everything like that. But you could definitely tell it had like a Halloween mask look to it. Like not an actual creature. So the fact that it was actually Uncle Gary's bodyguard the whole time, I thought it was going to be the Ranger, to be honest with you guys. The fact that it was just him in a mask trying to kill the kids. I like that plot twist. I thought that was good. If it was the actual grandfather coming back to kill everyone, that'd be kind of cool story as well. The characters though, didn't really care for any of them. Glad to see Tina dies and blows up. That's good, because she's a bitch. Just putting that out there. But on the rotten scale, effect-wise, you don't really see much blood at all. Even when the guy loses his head, no blood goes splurting out, which is kind of weird. But on the rotten scale, out of 10, I'm going to give it 3.5. I watched it. I guess that's something. Will I rewatch it? Probably not. To be honest with you, with it being a movie about monster, sex, and rock and roll, sure, there's sex, but I don't really think you see nudity. Every time a girl's getting ready to undress, the camera just cuts away and goes to a completely different scene altogether. So, but yeah, give it a 3.5 out of 10. I think is a decent score. It's not horrible. Glad I watched it. Will I revisit it? Probably not, though. which brings us to a point in time where we got to pick what we're watching next week. So next week, we're going to do another first-time watch. This movie is from 1989, and it also has Nightmare in the title. Next week, we're going to be watching, you can watch it for free on YouTube as well if you want to watch it ahead of time. But we are watching Nightmare Beach, the description as read on IMDb. After the execution of a motorcycle gang leader convicted of murder, a helmeted biker goes on a killing spree during spring break in Florida. Apparently, it's got a lot of kills in it. Will it be good kills? I don't know. We'll have to wait till we find out next week. So hopefully you guys will check out that episode. That should hopefully be a fun one. It's another first time watch, so who knows? Could suck. This one didn't suck. It wasn't great by any means. It was just average meh, kind of type movie. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully you'll stop by next week. And as always, make sure to check out the outro band, Toronto horror-based band Blood Opera. If you're listening on Spotify, they are directly linked to each episode on Spotify, so just scroll down. If not, feel free to check them out on Amazon, YouTube Music. Pretty much anywhere you can listen to music, you'll be able to find Blood Opera. And as always, make sure to check out all my social media links down below. At Typhonsign, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, X, TikTok. But the main thing is the YouTube channel. Definitely go check it out for old episodes of the podcast, weekly gaming episodes every single Wednesday, various short content,
community posts, and a ton of other things as well. So definitely go check that out. And if you want to help support the podcast, there's also the TeePublic link site down below. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys all later. Peace.
I am a whisper in the glass.